Great. Welcome to the CAPC monthly meeting. We're here at the auditorium here in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, May 28, 2025, 6 p.m. Steve Holofield, Chair. Welcome, everybody. Roll call.
Yep. Colin Paul.
Here.
David Avanzino.
Here.
Heather Wilson here. Rob Schmidt.
Here.
And Shira Faust is absent with notice. Steve Holofield is
Here. We do have a quorum for business. Agenda updates. Commissioners may add to the agenda with a motion, second, or vote. Anybody have anything they want to add or take away from the agenda that we've been presented?
I'd like to add on the new businesses, Folk Festival,
Folk Festival.
current situation.
Anybody second that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It's added as D under 10, new business. Anything else, anybody? I'll take a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
so moved.
Second.
Heather made the motion. David seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda stands. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Do you know what minutes you're approving? It's
April 25th.
April 25th. Who made the motion?
I did.
Robert.
Oh, Robert did. And who seconded it?
Me.
David?
Colin.
Oh, Colin? All in favor, say aye.
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 The minutes are approved. Public comments, we have two people. You want to come to the mic and introduce yourself and tell us what you're here about.
My name is David Blankenship. I'm the promoter for Carpet Young Bucks. It's the Chainsaw Garden Festival. It's been going on for 20 years now. I believe in y'all's packet, y'all got some information about our annual report for this year. First off, I want to thank y'all for funding us for $5,000 for advertising for this event. Out of that, we had 870,000 impressions off of Facebook. Out of those 870,000, there were 727,000 that were actually paid for by the funding that y'all gave us. And 143,000 of them were just organic from people sharing back and forth and everything. But y'all have got everything that we left with Danielle this morning, and we just want to thank y'all for helping fund this event for our 20th year. We're looking forward to the next year, be our 21st year, and we now have a permanent home at the Great Passion Play.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Blankenship. We have one more person signed up. Oh, I know this guy.
Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I'm coming to you with two different hats on. My first hat as a commissioner. And so I'm the chair of the Planning Commission, but one thing I wanted to tell you is thank you. Thank you for serving as commissioners for the CAPC. And as you heard from Mr. Blankenship, your mission here as helping with advertising in Eureka Springs doesn't go unheeded. It's needed. And we need each one of you commissioners and your time. And so, as I tell the city council, we need to honor you guys and let you know every day that we thank you for your service. So I wanted to do that. I want to say thank you for the time. And now, with my other hat, just as a regular citizen, I wanted to tell you how great it was to see you guys be steadfast and stick to your guns and keep the city moving forward with advertising. Because there was a lot of people out there that want to destroy you guys, and we need you, okay? And now, I'm just a guy, you know, and I walk the streets and I talk to our business guys out there, and we're not having a great year. But we're not having a bad year. But we're not having a great year. I wish we had a great year. But, you know, it's happening all over the country. It's not just us. Branson's having a tough year. We're going to have a tough year. But one thing I wanted to tell you about, in 2027, we've got a project coming. part of the planning master plan was to do a lot of things. One thing was to get the trolleys flowing freely downtown. Well, that's happened. And there was better signage. So you notice these nice signs that say Historic District Downtown. So that happened. So a lot of things that happen every day are not, they're because the business demands it. You guys make it happen by the voices that you accentuate, and having 2 city council members on your commission doesn't hurt, because then that's where the action happens, is on the council. So I wanted to say thank you again for those that work, but also I want to ask you, there's a big project coming in 2027, the roundabout. The roundabout is going to be a multi-year project, and it will affect our tourism. So one thing I want you to look at is maybe thinking about that as you look at advertising going into that year, to let people know, yeah, there's a project, but this is what's happening. Give them the information. Put them on the transportation website's got a great little blurb on it. So that's also good information on when it's going to happen, what's going to happen. And they promised me 2 weeks before the first shovel is done, there's going to be signs on the highway. So that'll happen. But it will affect our tourism. I have no doubt about it. It's going to be a big project, and I hope it's not going to be a multi-year project, but maybe it'll be done in a year. Anyway, well, thank you for your time, guys, and that's all I got. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next on our agenda is the financial report. Ty?
All right, you should have it in your packet. First report is the balance sheet, shows $1,726,000 in the bank. Go on to page 3, starts the P&L. April actual revenue was $200,000, budget $199,000. Year to date, $493,000, budget $492,000. On page 4, the bottom of the page is your total expenses for April was $240,000 with a budget of $269,000, and year to date $837,000 with a budget of $948,000. With an equity infusion brings us to 0. Does anyone have any questions over those reports?
I do.
Okay.
Real quick. I compared the budget versus actual from last month with this month, and I see, and you just maybe have to refresh my mind, on the auditorium operations, event talent, that had an increase, and I was just curious, is that the indigenous credit or
Which line item?
6079, auditorium event talent? What exactly includes that?
That would be for acts that we pay for.
But that's not for the indigenous, the band we're hiring, right?
That is,
Because that was a separate, I think that was a separate request in our last meeting.
I guess, I'm not sure what you're asking. That line is budgeted for the year at $40,000. That is the talent that we pay for to bring into the audit.
Oh, you just, okay, I see, you just, and we didn't spend money on that at all.
Not yet.
Right.
Not in April.
Right, but but that would be the part of that indigenous would go in here. Okay, all right. And another thing I just noticed, we heard it before, and I just compared real quick and with our tax collections, and yeah, we're behind last year. Apparently, by end of February, we were behind about 11%, and now by end of March, we're still behind about 8%.
That is correct.
So it confirms what I, or probably others, have noticed this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, that we were not busy as we were supposed to be on a Memorial Day weekend. I don't know how others saw it, but I definitely can confirm that we were not busy. That's it.
Any other questions on the financials?
Any other questions for him?
I just have one comment, Ty. I've gotten a couple of emails from members of the community asking if you could break down what the lodging income is and what the food and beverage income is. They had made mention in the past that perhaps in financial director reports that was stated during meetings. I don't personally recall, and I think if community members are asking, maybe we should just let them know how much we're collecting each month from each category.
So it's in the report, so you're wanting it to be...
Well, just verbally so that it's on
Okay.
the record for those who are watching
Okay,
on the live stream.
okay, I'll work on that.
I'm sorry?
I'll try to work on that and figure that out.
Okay, thank you.
I do have Shira Faust on the phone now. Say hi, Shira.
Hello, thank you.
Okay. I'll just hold the phone for her. So, I have one question. We had this other sheets was separate from everything. 2025 CAPC funds, is that something as part of the budget, or is that?
That's from carving. That's from carving in the
Okay,
Ozarks.
that's for carbon.
Yeah.
Great. Didn't say anything. Carbon. Okay. And any other questions about the financial report?
I do have questions about the past due collections again. Sorry.
Go ahead. There's a page there that does have.
It's right after page 5. It doesn't have a page number on the bottom, but it's the past due collections. So I see a couple of patterns here. One is these people just flat out don't want to pay. I don't know what you guys are doing to get this money from them. And I also see that several of these book only through Airbnb. And I thought that Airbnb was remitting taxes automatically. Is that not the case?
That is the case, but we do not get a breakdown of who they are paying for. And so we require them to also file even just a zero amount so we know that they're filing.
So I guess at what point, I'll just take, the two at the bottom. I'll just take those for examples. At what point do we say, we're going to shut you down, or we're taking your license, or whatever the case may be? Because they seem to have been on this list over and over and over again. A
Right.
couple of these people do.
And they have payment plans, and so we're working that out. So some of them have longer payment plans than others, depending on, because I was trying to clean up from last year when I wasn't here. There was time where, there's a couple that didn't pay for a whole year. So we're trying to get them caught up. And so they'll be on for a little while till they are caught up.
So you're having a payment plan or something going on all of those?
Yes.
Good.
So they'll be on there till that is complete. There are a couple that have not stuck to the payment plan, and so we're going to have to go to the next level with them.
Can you, on this list, without saying their names, can you just give me the number?
Number of,
Take the business, give it a number, and tell me what number.
Where is it on the list?
Can for future meetings, we have an asterisk for the ones that have a payment plan?
well, all of the ones on the bottom section have a payment plan.
Oh, that's, okay.
It says working out payment.
Are they actually paying?
All but two.
So no one's more than 2 months due that hasn't been contacted and is working
Right.
to get ahead?
Correct.
Okay.
So we have been in contact with everyone. And there are two that we're probably going to have to go to the next steps of pursuit of payment.
Okay.
I mean, I would encourage you to go ahead. Because if we don't do it, then everybody thinks we can just wait
Right.
and see.
Agreed.
I mean, the law is the law, and everybody collected that money. The money is there. It's just supposed to be at the right place.
Okay.
Also, on the 1 month past due,
This
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, number 7, that place was sold, I believe.
That is correct,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Robert just told me.
It's currently not open, and it's under renovation, yeah.
And then on 2 months past due, number 1, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but this is the one we've been working with at City Council first.
Yeah.
That's not the, okay. Okay.
I mean, what, your point or saying that part, when you look at the names, without saying any names, but we see a pattern. It's same sources. And so for that part, we probably have to, step up a little bit because there's multiple businesses with the same ownership involved. And I think that it is time to clean that up.
Working on it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Ty, I don't know if you know, but like number 2 under multiple months, they're strictly Airbnb. That's the only way you can book one of their rooms, correct, Robert?
Sorry, say again?
Number 2 under multiple months past due, I think they only book strictly through Airbnb and VRBO.
I don't know strictly, but I've seen that, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in contact with them, and they do owe a little bit.
Okay.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to accept the financial report?
Motion to accept the financial report as presented.
Second?
I'll give it. David made the motion, Robert seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Advertising liaison report, is that you yet, Shira?
That is me.
Okay.
Mike is out today sick. I think, is he still out?
No, we're looking at him right here. He said right here.
Oh, well, he made it. Well, welcome. Glad to know he's back. It has been very interesting taking part in the marketing reports on Wednesdays. I'm usually at work, so I'm half in and half out. I know Madden Media is doing an excellent job, and they're constantly working on ads and talking about lodging and nightlife and promoting our town, and everyone is very involved in making sure everything from the colors to the fonts to the ads and all the details are tied up. And I'm sorry I'm at home right now and not with my notes at the meeting where I intended to be. So I am on limited information right at the moment. But I am starting to get a feel for the folks and what's going on there, and feel really, really good about their efforts.
Great. You have anything to add, Mike?
About 3 pages worth.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone can hear me. Can you hear me okay, Steve?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I got you up to the mic, so everybody's hearing you.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay. Mike said he has like 3 pages to add to this report. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. So hold on. Mike?
Oh, you mean it's my turn? Oh, okay. All right. I was out yesterday for a bit. It seems that I may have Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So just FYI. I want to share with you a real quick little video that is currently on the air in Little Rock and probably on your cable television. It goes something like this.
Good Morning Arkansas is hitting the road to spotlight the wonderful people and places of the natural state.
Friday, we visit the unique, vibrant, and diverse community of Eureka Springs.
Friday at 9 on Channel 7, Good Morning Arkansas.
Kind of speaks for itself. This Friday, we will be live on the air on Channel 7 in Little Rock on KATV. They've been here for the past week or so, not only interviewing some of our people in town, but also we'll be providing kind of a summer-long program of our spots on KATV. And that was just a little preview of something that actually went on today and will be running for the rest of this week. Some of the people that have been interviewed are our own celebrities, such as Colin, one of our celebs, People from Opera in the Ozarks were interviewed along with some other people in town. Those are the pre-recorded segments that will be airing this weekend. And then Danielle and I will be live on Friday morning on KATV. We're also doing the same program in Springfield on Color 10 television. It'll be a little later on, but these are opportunities for us to go ahead and cover the central Arkansas area pretty well, and also move us up in the north in the Springfield market as well. We are in what is called the Springfield Direct Market Area, or otherwise DMA. So our viewership actually from the Springfield market is quite high. And this is two concentrated geographies with really several 100,000 people will be affecting. So this is a good program for us to be moving into the summertime. We have had quite a bit of back and forth with OTAs, online booking agencies, online travel agencies. We were finally able to go ahead and get VRBO, which begins their collections the 1st of June. Because of some excellent sleuthing by our staff, I want to thank Danielle for this, was able to get the name of somebody at Booking.com. And we did have the conversation, and Booking.com will be remitting at some point. I can't give you a date on that yet because we've not seen a contract. But between Airbnb, between VRBO and Booking.com, we're picking up the online travel agency business. So I think this is a good step for us as well. Going back to Airbnb just for a couple of moments, and I'm going to talk about this in new business a little bit more in depth. But we've been taking a look at other research venues. One is called AirDNA. And we've been looking at Placer AI, we looked at Granicus, plus our own Voyage from Mad Media. And these are some instruments that I think that are going to prove very valuable to us, and we'll get into that a little bit. But Ty and I and staff have been looking at the capabilities of AirDNA and what it could mean for us. From the standpoint of further research, more accuracy in the reporting we have, and when it gets into things like particularly Airbnb, who are they? Well, with AirDNA, we'll be able to find that out. Similarly with VRBO, but we'll talk about that when we get down to new business in just a few minutes. Over the past, I'm going to say 4 months or so, we've been working with Madden to rebuild visiteurekasprings.com. The reason for the rebuild is multifaceted. Number one, over time, the website's become very heavy with pictorial content, and we've had to streamline that down a lot better for people that are basically looking for information. There's no compromise in this rebuild at all. As a matter of fact, what it does, it helps the viewer get to what they want a lot faster. This is going to become particularly more important with AI. As people start to go ahead and do searches on AI, they're going to ask specific questions. It will drill down into what that information is that exists on the website as such. So what it means in some respects is that if you take a look at our web analytics, maybe not as many thousands of people have been going to a particular search, but yet on the same token with AI, they're getting right what they want very quickly. So this is a really good process for us to go through. And we're going to see more AI dig its way, if you will, into the web and those analytics. This is a pretty good step for us to take. It's taken quite a bit of time, and literally every page, every comma has to be gone through diligently to make sure that it fires accurately when people go to those sites. Because of that, we've determined that our SEO, not only the paid SEO that we paid for, but also the organic SEO, is kind of like the lifeblood of our website, and anybody's website for that matter. Because of that, we've learned quite a bit of new information about what makes SEO strong for us and how we can manipulate that data a little further. So consequently, on the 26th of June, the CAPC is going to be hosting the first SEO workshop. It's going to be for all of our partners, along with anybody else that is interested in learning a better way to go about enhancing their SEO. We're bringing in Dylan Sakati. I can't always pronounce his name. It looks like spaghetti, but it's actually, well, anyway. His name is Dylan from Madden, and we're bringing him specially to be a part of this seminar. He is the expert of SEO, and he'll be actually teaching all of our partners a little better way to go ahead and enhance the product they have. What that means specifically is that you may be using SEO right now to what you think is your optimum level. On the same token, because of AI, it's so important to be spot on, very specific, and that's what we're going to probably be trying to work with people on. We think it's going to be a good opportunity for people to get their hands a little bit more in depth into their own websites and how they can better market themselves. It's all about SEO. Last week we sent out kind of a lengthy memo in the Monday memo, which was a little bit of a review of what we're doing for the summer to help our business grow. And it's a list of about 21 different things. And we really do get into a lot of the material with Madden that sometimes isn't always as obvious to everybody. For instance, we don't do a lot of print advertising. We do some in AY Magazine. We do some in the Kansas City Magazine, 405 in Oklahoma, 417 in Missouri. And then, of course, we do a little bit in the Arkansas Times. But the lion's share of our advertising is all done digitally. It's all done via social media. It's all done because of our website. So our SEO campaign at Google is right at the top of the list. We have a thing called Google Near Me. Near Me means you're about 50 miles away and you're able to go ahead and see messages from Eureka Springs. That's fairly important to us as people travel to us. Google Demand Gen is the newest form of reaching across multiple platforms of social media, including YouTube. And you see this a lot these days. If you're watching streaming television, you'll see ads from all over the place. You'll see it from Nebraska, Oklahoma. I saw one the other day from Des Moines, which was surprising. And you start to see Google Demand really start to fire up, and it's a very economical way to go ahead and share your content. Our Meta ads, prospecting directly into Facebook, which come in a couple of different ways. The Zero Television, which is the streaming TV that we do. Converse and Epsilon is aiding in community reach. How do you reach out and engage the community in different things that you're doing? And then, of course, there's Expedia. Expedia is probably one of the best resources we have right now to indicate how much revenue is being generated through online booking engines. And Expedia is doing a very good job of telling us these things. We have dipped into podcasting this year on iHeartMedia. We're moving the matter around in different podcasting formats, from news to entertainment to crime to all kinds of things that are probably part of lifestyle. The other thing that we do, and I think this is such a cool thing, is our influencers are really starting to rev up a lot of the content that you see online. And we've got more influencers coming this weekend, for instance, for blues. Out-of-home media, another source of what we call OOH, out-of-home media. Basically billboards. And we've got 2 key locations right now that we're working with in the Bentonville market, plus the billboards we have in the Kansas City market at the intersections of I-435 and I-70, which is just a couple of miles from Royals and the GEH Stadium. And then we've jumped into Reddit for the first time. We talked a little bit about this in the past. And then, of course, our email campaigns with the state of Arkansas and our ads that pop up in the Arkansas Visitors Guide, in the Northwest Arkansas Visitors Guide, Eureka Springs Visitors Guide, Arkansas Cycling, and other places. So we've got a very lengthy list of things that we're doing specifically to ramp up our business for this summer. And we're hoping that that really does help us generate more income for us. I've included, I think you've got a copy of it, which is the Arkansas county by county 2% sales revenue figures. And if you'll take a look, this is the February report. Like all things tax related, everybody is 2 months behind. So we're looking at the February numbers, but pleased to say that Carroll County jumped up to 3.77%. We were in the negatives when we started the first of the year. So we are up. Washington County is up. Benton County is up. Garland County, unfortunately, is down. Garland County, the home of Hot Springs. I don't know what's going on down there. But the state as a whole is down about -7%. But again, these are the first 2 periods of reporting for 2025. And hopefully, as the economy continues to improve, if it does, in fact, maybe we'll see those numbers go back up again. But it's good to see the numbers for Carroll County because basically Eureka Springs contributes the lion's share of that 2% back to the state of Arkansas. These are something that I've requested for quite a long time, and I'm finally starting to get these numbers once again, so it's good to see what the numbers are. This is a big weekend in Eureka Springs. This is Blues Party Weekend. Starts tomorrow night. We've got a lot of entertainment planned, basically 3-4 full days of blues, and basically it will be a great party atmosphere, I think, for the city. And we are having 2 shows here at the auditorium, both on Friday night and Saturday night. Friday night will be Indigenous along with Monty Montgomery. And then on Saturday night, Anders Osborne along with Ruthie Foster, a great blues legend. So we're very pleased the way all the entertainment is shaping up. The last part of my report in this area is the new slate of officers for the Northwest Arkansas Tourism Association. To pass this on to you, Sandy Martin is our treasurer. Our secretary this year is Allison Nation with Visit Bentonville. The vice president coming in is Sarah King from Experience Fayetteville. And yours truly is the new chair of NADA, and very pleased to be in that position. So that's kind of how the report wraps up this evening. So, any questions?
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. You said that SEO workshop was on the 26th of June?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Thursday, probably starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll have some more information as we put this together. But we are inviting everybody that would like to attend.
Location?
It will be here in the gym.
Auditorium, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Monday memo, is that something you send out every Monday?
No. Frequently, but not every Monday.
It's the every other Monday.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, as the spirit moves, sometime, we get it out, let's put it that way. It really does depend on content and, what is necessary to send out. But I felt this time it was good for people to understand really the significant amount of advertising that we put into the program and how we're shaping ourselves up for the summer and how we're getting into fall.
I for one, like to receive that as well.
You're not getting the Monday memo?
I don't
Well,
receive it.
what you need to do then is to go ahead and send us your money.
Oh, really?
No,
I gave it the office.
you gave it the office. Okay, if anybody's not getting the memo, please let us know and make sure that you do.
Okay.
I just want to make one other comment. All the advertising is great. I love the TV news thing that was there. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Please don't forget those of us that are on the outer loop.
The what?
On the outer loop, when you guys consider stuff? Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
One thing I noticed, it's interesting when you go back several years, it's been a while since I have seen that Tourism Trust Fund collections. I remember we were number 4 one time in the state. Now it looks like if I didn't make a mistake that we're down to number 7.
Could be.
And I was just thinking, what is Craighead and Crittenden? What is in?
That's Jonesboro.
Jonesboro, okay.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Which one is that?
Craighead and Crittenden County are really
they're
neighbors. Northeast Arkansas.
Okay.
Right. One of the phenomenons, I think Jonesboro just recently gained an A&P commission within the past, 18 months or so. And it's because of Arkansas State University and the size of the university, the growth it has. When we went to Governor's Conference there 2 years ago, the surprising thing about Jonesboro was the significant number of fast food restaurants. And it's a very, very big campus right now, and they have done a pretty good job of pulling people in. If you take a look at Benton County for a moment, Benton County collects from Siloam Springs, Bella Vista, Bentonville, and Rogers. Those are 4 diamonds in the rough, if you will. Washington County only collects from the city of Fayetteville and Springdale, and that would warrant, that growth. Garland County is Hot Springs, and generally speaking, as the season ramps up, as they start horse racing, then those numbers are going to rise as well. But we have gotten some competition, obviously, and we were 4th, 5th at times over the past few years. But I think what we're seeing right now is the growth of Benton County taking a lot of that ammunition away. And the second thing is Pulaski County is still number 1, and the growth of Central Arkansas is very strong. So how we fare out, with the rest of the state, let's jump down to El Dorado, pardon me, which also came online a few years ago. They've been taking some tourism efforts away. And we can't forget about the Mountain Home area as well. Let's put it this way: we have competition in the tourism world. So that's part of the reason, Robert, that we'll see a drop occasionally from maybe the 5th or the 6th position. So
well, from those, I came up to we're on 7s, but from those 7, 4 of them are down, and 3 of them are up. We're one of them. Who still, and it's not a big amount, but we're up. If you would, just take a look at Northwest Arkansas as a whole, though. If you take Benton, Washington, and Carroll County, we're all up. So, that's a good indication unto itself, I think. Now, Madison County, on the other hand, only collects from Huntsville. I don't think Huntsville had more than a couple $100 of income as they went into the first of the year.
Okay. Anything else? So we're done with the advertising liaison report and the tourism director's report. Back into old business. Amended bylaws submitted for approval. We talked about adjusting in the section 4, page 1 of our bylaws. And we've added the chair may be reelected for 1 successive year after having served 2 successive 1-year terms. Commissioner may not again serve as chair for a period of at least 1 year. So we've added that. We've talked about it. Now we've read it in, and I guess we'll go ahead and vote on it. So all in favor say aye. Have a motion to accept this change into our bylaws.
Make a motion to update our bylaws according to the submission we have in front of us.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Barb made the motion. David seconded it. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. The chair says aye as well. And I will sign these later. Just want to point out that the Parks Commission has this rule. Also, HTC has this rule. I don't know about the cemetery or planning and zoning, but I think planning and zoning does. I think it's a great rule. I think we don't want anybody to be commissioner for 20 years. I mean, a chair for 20 years. We need to trade places every once in a while. I'll take our turn. So y'all get ready for next year. So, all right. So next on our list is, I put my agenda over here, and I did. Funding request, new business, number 10. We have 5 funding requests to go through. The first one up is the Riders Colony at Dairy Hollow. Do we have anybody here? Hello.
Hello.
Want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hey, beautiful humans. Thank you for having me. My name is Hilke Irvin, and I am the consulting marketing
Can you
manager.
please speak into the microphone?
Of course.
A little closer.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
This is new to me.
Right.
So my name is Hilke Irvin. I am the consulting marketing manager at the Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow.
So you want to tell us, so you're looking for an amount of money, which is?
We're asking for $5,000. This is our first annual event. We are currently celebrating our 25th anniversary, and I don't know if you all are you all familiar with the Writers Colony? Yeah. Everyone? If you're not familiar with the Writers Colony, we provide writing residencies, retreats, We have had over 2,000 people that have stayed over the past 25 years. We have writers that have come from 13 different countries, 48 different states, so they come from all over the place, which is very exciting. Sometimes they stay for 3 days, sometimes they stay for 3 months, and it's a place for them to really hunker down and focus on their writing. So we have songwriters, we have poets, we have fiction, nonfiction writers, culinary writers. It's magic. So if you've never been there, I encourage you to stop by and visit. So this event it's called a Jazz Age Jubilee, bookmarked a Jazz Age Jubilee. We're going to be doing it over Jazz Weekend on August 3rd. And we're kind of late to the party here because our venue changed very recently. We were just going to do it at the Writers Colony. And it started to grow and grow and grow, and the fire marshal was like, no, we can't do that. So the Crescent Hotel was kind enough to offer space at a really, really great price, and that's why we're here. We could use a little bit of help, a little bit of seed money. This is an event we see growing over the years, so we're starting out kind of small with live music. We're going to have a hybrid auction. We'll be doing dancing. There'll be raffles. Authors will be doing signings of books. So there's going to be lots of activity. And then in the future, we're hoping that maybe we can grow that by having a lit fest by day and a gala by night. So do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions, Ms. Irvin?
Well, I have another question, but I mean, I see the budget is $5,990 according to your application, and then on the other side we see that you're expecting about 125 attendees.
That is the max that we can have this year at the Crescent Hotel.
Okay, the thing is, my concern is, like, you know, for 125 people, the max.
Sure.
Supporting with $5,000, we have much bigger events, and I don't see the return on our investment with a $5,000 fund request.
Sure.
That's my biggest concern.
Sure.
That I would feel more comfortable with a smaller amount. I don't know what others think about that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, Hilka,
Yeah.
it is so nice to see someone from the arts community to come up and ask us for funding. It doesn't happen enough.
Yeah.
We could do so much more when it comes to funding for the Writers Colony or any artist. It's good to see you here. I haven't seen that a lot in the past couple of years. So I think this is a fantastic idea.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's going to be the first one, I see it growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, although, Robert, I do understand your concerns, I think that for the sake of supporting the arts and the community, that we do this, and we just don't see enough of it. I mean, I think Hilka may be the only, I know she's not the only one, but probably I can count on one hand how many people have come up and asked for funding for the arts.
And I do understand your concern. We are a very small nonprofit organization. We have a lot of heart, a lot of energy. We have a lot of dreams, and so this was us dreaming big and hoping that you might help with with this, planting the seed for this event, and hoping that it will grow into something really great for the city of Eureka Springs, for the community, for the arts, for the literature, for the literary arts, as well as the arts in general. I mean, we really are all bonded and tied together in so many ways.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just as a reminder, we can say 5,000. She may only spend 2. So,
I did want to ask you that you do know that the money has to be spent for advertising.
I do.
Purposes?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve $5,000 for bookmarked a Jazz Age Jubilee celebrating 25 years for the Writers Colony at Gary Hollow.
I second.
David made the motion, Colin seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Sharon, did you hear that?
I did, however, I am involved with the Writers Colony, so I'm going to go ahead and step out of this one if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So
All right.
it passes.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate you all very much.
Thanks,
We're very
Ilka.
grateful.
Thank you.
Crew of Crazo. Am I saying that right, Crazo? Mr. Hinky.
Damon Hinkie here with Crew of Crazo, along with Melinda Eskridge. Say hello.
Hello, I'm the new president for the Crew of Crazo.
All right.
We are teaming up to talk about Mardi Gras for 2026. It's a compact season. I think I talked to you a little bit about it last meeting, and we're excited about it. We're going to go from basically the 10th of January into Valentine's weekend. I was just doing some numbers there. It's hard to say how many people come to this event because we're really talking about content and programming for almost a 60-day window there. So I guess in this particular month, it's compacted into more like 30 days. But really what we're asking for is advertising for the two main parades that happen, the night parade and the day parade. That's conceptually what's coming, or the outsiders that are coming into town. I would say that Mardi Gras weekend is probably second to St. Patty's Day as far as the type of customer-based demographics that are coming in for this particular event. A lot of people talk about the balls, but you'd have to consider that there's about a $24,000 to $26,000 budget, and these balls are funding themselves. They're funding the floats. They're funding the float barns. They're funding our insurance. So the programming of the actual content of Eureka Springs Mardi Gras is paid for by Crew of Crazo. It's really just the tap into the CAPC to say, hey, we're bringing all this in for winter vibrancy. Would you like to advertise it to a larger community that makes it seem worthwhile? Because we're bringing in the room nights, we're bringing in the food receipts. That's kind of where we're at and why we asked for the $5,000 as the maximum amount there, because it's a full gamut of programming and content. Questions, anyone?
I guess, Mike, this may be for you. When Damon says he brings in hotel nights, do we have any data to back that up?
Not right now. No, we do not. And I'm glad you asked the question.
Okay. I mean, I can speak for myself. We were not what we expected to be for the last parade season. And then again, fully respect what you guys do, and I appreciate it, but you've been here for 20 years, and how long are we going to be funding your advertising? Shouldn't you be self-sufficient at this point?
Excellent question. So the $24,000, $26,000 is self-sufficient. The part that we're asking for, we're raising, this is my point of it, we're bringing enough volume in off of these events, these parades, that the money that is generated off of the 3% revenue is money that was generated because we had the people come to town. These people wouldn't necessarily be here in the middle of winter without the vibrancy of Mardi Gras. Therefore, all we're doing is asking for a portion of the money that we generated based on the vibrancy that we brought to town in the first place. So yes, I'm going to ask for that money every single year because it's money that we generate based on the $24,000 that we spend to have the vibrancy in the first place.
Our mission statement is, I'll just ad lib this a little bit, but our mission statement is to try and bring tourism into Eureka Springs during the winter months when things kind of slow down. And Mardi Gras, sometimes the weather impacts the amount of people that come in just because it's January and February. But we are doing things on social media. Damon and I, we went on television in Fayetteville and did a promotion about Mardi Gras and Eureka Springs. Not just Mardi Gras, but about Eureka Springs and what all Eureka Springs has to offer. And last year, we were awarded the $5,000, and we spent that. We had $3,000 that we spent with Lamar advertising, and that was for billboards along I-49. We got a lot of great feedback from people that saw that, and they were like, we've lived here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, didn't even know there was a Mardi Gras in Eureka Springs. So we're trying to reach, different people in different areas. We also used some funds, $1,500 for the radio station, which was local radio stations here, and then we had $500 for the local newspaper. If we're to receive this money again for 2026, we kind of would like to maybe change things up a little bit. I love the advertising with Lamar. And like I said, we got a lot of positive feedback. I think, Mike, you got some positive feedback as well from that. When we reached different people, maybe cut back on the radio a little bit and do more social media. But we do think that we want to try and help folks that work in the restaurants and the hotels to be able to continue to live here, because I know in the past when January and February rolled around, a lot of businesses would close down or business slowed down, and so people would have to go find jobs elsewhere. And we'd like to keep our people here. And that's just one of the reasons why, we enjoy having a good time with Mardi Gras. It's a wonderful event and time of year, but we also, there's a purpose, and that is to make sure that people are still coming to Eureka Springs and spending their dollars here with us.
And I would just want to make it clear, I am not against the parade at all, or Mardi Gras or the crew. I'm just looking at what is the ROI on giving you $5,000 next year. If you come back up, and I'm still here, I will ask for data to back up that amount of money. And I always will. It's nothing personal.
Would that be the chamber's responsibility to get that, or who's?
If they get Air DNA, you'll see a reflection of that in room nights.
And to be honest, I'm not particularly sure how many years the CACP has been giving the crew of Crazo $5,000. Do you have any idea? Do you guys know? I don't think we've been asking for 20 years.
I know, but
I know it's been every year since I've been here, but I don't know past that.
Right before Mike left the first time, we got the first $10,000 because that's how it got set to a $5,000 cap. It seemed a little excessive at $10,000, and I think the $5,000 as inflation and times have gone up. I guess I would add too, a part of this is to just use Mike and Madden's expertise to promote this thing. We don't really necessarily need to spend, and we didn't spend any of the $5,000. That was all spent through the CAPC off of the CAPC's checkbook. So we would rather just say, here's the idea, this is what's happening. You guys make the decision as to how much exposure you really think this is worth. Sure, the $5,000 is a cap number that we're just throwing a dart at and saying, let's go with that. But a piece of this is a partnership with Mike and Madden to say, what do you want to do for vibrancy?
If I compare it to the previous application, I see definitely more return on our investment on an event like this. There's two parades. I understand the rest of the Mardi Gras stuff, it's made for a small group of people. But if they keep coming back, they still spend money, even if they're locals. Maybe instead of sitting at home and watching a TV program, they come to town and eat and spend some money. So, I have less problem with this amount than the previous application, where I don't see the return back.
I'd like to bring something up as well, as far as the having like a CAPC partnership, if that's kind of what you're leaning into. We pay Madden to advertise already. So if we have to go to Madden and say, hey, this is something else that we want to advertise, it's on top of $5,000. It's more than that. And if you want the CAPC staff to help with the event, that's also time that they have to put into. So it's not just a simple, you guys should be doing this. There's a lot that the CAPC should be doing that we probably could do more of, but that's a bigger question than a simple $5,000 funding request.
Can we revisit this application and see if you could get together with Mike and see how much synergies between the two would be with Madden and yours, and go from there? Would that be a better solution?
mean, this has been a topic at the CAPC for a long time, and to your example, what I used to propose was that there was just a generic thing that said these are how the CAPC is going to promote an event that is a citywide event that will push the city forward, based on the fact that we already have it in the budget, and these are the line items, because you know you're going to push it anyway. And I think that's where Robert's alluding to, is where does that cross over? Because we're not really asking about an extra $5,000. You're going to be promoting Eureka Springs vibrancy through the winter anyway. So I think we're just asking for a pen in the paper, because the $5,000 is an eligibility. If that comes out of the regular budget at the time to say, well, here's the $5,000 isn't dedicated to just Mardi Gras, it's dedicated to winter vibrancy in Eureka Springs, that comes in a package to be like, no, Mardi Gras is a part of that winter vibrancy, if that makes any sense.
Heather?
I'd like to say a couple of things. First, as somebody who spent many years in events, it is surprising there's no data or demographic information or anything for an event that has been going on so long. So I think that I do agree with others that going forward, it would be nice. We do get, I mean, we just had a great example from carving in the Ozarks of what they spent, how it performed, and there are other examples of that. One of the weekends, they actually have an online thing where they're capturing how many nights are you staying, etc. I know they can't capture everyone, but that anecdotal data does help us make decisions, and it helps us to justify the spend. So it's just a recommendation that I would make going forward if that's something that you're able to implement. The other thing that I want to say is this. One of the things that I really did feel a little bit of a pitter-patter in my heart last time Damon spoke about this was this overlaps with Valentine's Day. And that does influence me somewhat as a Eurekan, that I'm not very big on Valentine's Day. I'm not like, hey, take me to dinner and buy me roses and chocolate. But I'm more about like, hey, let's go do this fun thing that's festive around people. And when I'm the ambivert in me wants to come out and play, and then I can go home and introvert. I think that could be compelling in advertising around Valentine's Day in Eureka. And so I think that is something for us to consider, that overlap for 2026. I understand, we have been having discussions about legacy events, and I think that's something that we did say we were going to, further explore in 2026. This is in front of us now. So that's my take. I get it. I have a shirt that says, about data, so I do understand those concerns. I really do. But I don't think that it's, I'm concerned enough to say $5,000 can't be justified. I think if it were a bigger ask, maybe I would have more concern. But I know, where I live, there is a rental, and they bring in the floats every year, and they get excited, and I see people asking questions, and I do see people coming out for it. So that's my 2 cents on it, especially again with Valentine's Day.
All right.
Well, I make a motion to approve $5,000 for the Mardi Gras 2026.
I'll second.
Robert made the motion, David seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye as well. Motion approval. It's been approved. Sorry.
Thank you so much. We'll spend that $5,000 well, I promise you.
Thank you.
And you'll all get beads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Gravity Fed, LLC.
Is it Fed or Feed?
Yeah.
I think it's Feed.
Hello, my name is Dennis, and this is Nick. He's the Gravity Feed, the shuttle driver at the Lake Leatherwood for the bicycle trails that are going on over there. And we just had our first Leatherwood Gravity Challenge last month, and it was a success. With your help, we were able to promote the event in a short time and bring a bunch of people to the event. And we had so much fun, we wanted to do it again. So we're having June 6th and July 3rd. June 8th and July 12th and 13th, 2 more events. So it kind of became from just one challenge into the challenge series. And so we would like to ask for $5,000 to do more promotional videos for those 2 events and hire photographers to promote the upcoming events.
I need to interject in here.
Okay.
They've been granted $5,000 already this year.
Say that one more time.
They've already been granted $5,000 this year.
Oh.
This would be the second time around. We typically don't do that.
Okay.
And this second sheet, the sheet is attached. It says 46,245 views. Is that something you all had?
Yeah. We had really fantastic traction on social media. We got 46,000 views on the main event content, but besides that, I think we've done over 10 different short clips on social media promoting the town of Eureka and biking. I know we just had, Bentonville just had Bike Fest, and a lot of people came to town, and Nick was able to get a bunch of riders come from Bentonville to town before the event and after the event. A few companies came with their company truck and had bike demos for people. So it's nice to bring the mountain bike capital of the world riders and the bikers here, because for us, we like the gravity and we like the shuttle services that Nick does.
So do other cities have more than one event a year?
Yeah. Bikers are kind of racers. They like to do races in the spring, summer, and fall. There's a different kind of vibe to the event. So a lot of enduro races, they're happening. They're doing a few a year.
And I guess the next question, Mike, or Steve, do we have anything regarding this in our bylaws or rules about funding something twice? Because to me, I don't know how to say this. It may be the same group, but it's an entirely different group that they're bringing in. Because I know when the bicycles are in town, I see them all the time at my hotel, around town, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious as to, let's say that the parade that wanted to do 2 parades a year, would we say no? And if we did say no, where's the policy or bylaw that says we can't?
There really isn't anything in the bylaws that says you cannot do that. It's the discretion of the commission in this regard. The issue that we run into is we have a limited amount of resources to grant out. And with $75,000 this year, we are already pushing, really the limits of what we have available. And I think that's the issue that we really need to examine, is not so much discouraging an event, rather how much money can we afford to put into a second event. And I think your point's well taken. Let's say we have 2 parades, do we fund both? Just because we know they do bring the people to town. That becomes a real, I think, serious question for us to answer.
I have a question.
Right.
Oh.
Are you guys going out to sponsors, looking for sponsors?
Yes. Nick started going out to sponsors, but this event is only a few months young. So we did get the first sponsor because of on last week, because of the companies that came to shuttle with Nick, Transition Bicycle Company. So we got the first one, and we're trying to get some more.
I just see that for your cost and profit for your event for last time, you just didn't, there's a not applicable, so you didn't fill out that spot on this one. So it'd just be nice, especially if it was such a recent event, for you to be able to put all that, give us all that data as well to see how well you did as far as profit and loss, because I see you are charging $85 a bike, I assume. And so Just noticing that that's not there. So I'm just curious if you were also going out to sponsors, because it sounds like a great event, especially if you're charging admission. How many people attended?
So we got 20, 30 people this year, the first event.
Just the racers only. There was also family.
Just the racers, but they had, it was a lot of kids, so there was mom and dad involved. So the whole overall event, I think we had 50 to 100 people that came that weekend to hang out. And I think Nick just kind of set the expectation that that's how many people we have, because he only has one trailer that he can shuttle with. And so the more people we have, the more he's going to invest into the operational costs, get more trailers, and just kind of grow it. But I think he was able to break even this first event, and he did good.
Thanks.
You know,
Heather?
Oh, Heather, sorry.
First, I want to say I'm a big fan, and I get a lot of emails about how we need to continue promoting cycling and mountain biking in Eureka Springs. With that, Section 4 of our funding guidelines does clearly state applications must be submitted at least 2 months in advance. This takes place in 10 days.
We're talking about the event in July for the most part. I know that the June is too soon, but he's got 2 more events coming up. So that's the July 13th is what we're asking for.
We do need to change this to July. It says June on it, just for due diligence.
Yeah.
My main concern more is this one here. You know, when I look at your budget, you have photography and videography as a part you want us to pay for. And where do we put our logo in those videos and into the photography? And I don't see us paying for editing of a video. I mean, that should not be our job to pay for something like that. I'd like to see a bill for that video was posted in a certain location or on a certain platform, and that we would support something like that. But to create the video or the photography, I don't think we should have to pay for that. So on paper brochures, we can always attach our logo and make sure that it is seen, or on an ad, like you have it here on the second position. But I don't know, do we have our logo and everything inserted into your videos, for example?
Yes, you do. We put the logo on all the photos and the video, everything that's posted. Yeah, it does get released on social media. We just posted it on pinkbike.com. It's a big website for the bicycle industry. Also, we share the videos and the photos with you guys in the Leatherwood Gravity Park and the Leatherwood campgrounds. So we're trying to kind of create a media and give it to you guys as well. So we're trying to give you a good return on the investment by putting the logo on all the content.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Mm-hmm. It's not a question. It still isn't within the 60 days. I do, in good conscience, have to point that out. It is not within the 60 days in our guidelines. We should have that on the record.
That's just at the very end of July.
Unless it's July 28th or through the 31st. And we set a precedent every time we make exceptions. So
I think the biggest issue is that in order for you to use the funds to advertise, you had to have been advertising for 2 months before the event.
We are currently
we are already been advertising. It's just for the follow-up and to spread the word that the challenge continues and keep on the advertising.
So it could be a reimbursement. They already started advertising.
So what is the latest date you're doing this?
July 13th.
July 13th.
July 13th.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I I would think that's still, I mean, the bicycling is a growing community. We have seen it. We know that this is going to be more. To make a point here, I would make a motion and for $1,500 for this application.
I need to interject real quick. So I went to your website, and it says June 8th, but you're telling us it's for July.
Another one July 5th.
Yeah, we're adding 2 more events. So June 8th is the earliest one, but we're also creating the 3rd one in July. And it all just happened recently after the last event was success. Nick and I decided to have 2 more.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
we do need to update the website with the July date as well.
I just wanted to point that out. And also, for everybody's information, they are on the website using our logo and information.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
For $1,500 modification. So Art made the motion. Colin seconded for $1,500, not $5,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Kira?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries $1,500. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Appreciate your help.
Appreciate it, sirs. Next application is the City Cemetery Commission, and I did not see David Danvers here. And I would suggest that we wait till next month if he's not here to present, because partly the application is, I think he's a little confused about the numbers. It's like 4,700 attendees. That's actually the number of people buried at the cemetery.
Today.
Today.
Notice it says today.
With anticipation of 5,500 in the future. So I think David needs a little help with the application, and he's not here, so we're going to.
So we postpone it then.
We're going to just postpone that. If that's
He's not wrong.
Right.
That's yeah.
It's a captive audience.
Well, he's right. They're there, but they're not going to enjoy the tour as much as anybody else. Nightmare in the Ozarks Film Festival. Mr. Scribner.
Hello, I'm Colton Scribner, and I'm the director of the Nightmare in the Ozarks Film Festival. I'm requesting $5,000 this year for our 2nd year of the festival. And to give you some insight onto how the money was spent last year, because we did get $5,000 last year for this event. So this is a 3-day, last year was a 3-day film festival. At the end of October, this year it's going to be 4 days, so October 22nd to the 25th. Most film festivals in their first year usually get 50 to 60 attendees. It kind of depends on where you're at. If you're in a bigger city, you get a lot more. Smaller cities get a lot fewer. We had around 600 last year from all over the United States. I don't have data on demographics from where they were from, but I do have anecdotal data from talking to people. I know that several people, both filmmakers and attendees, came from Los Angeles, which is obviously the film production capital of the world. So it's not just small films that we had, it was also major productions, including several US premieres and even a world premiere. So that means that the film was shown for the first time in Eureka Springs, either in the US or in the world. These were feature films that either went to theaters in the following weeks or went to streaming platforms or were released on Blu-ray. I don't recall the exact number for impressions. I think it was around 620 or 630,000 impressions from marketing last year, again, for a first-year event and for a somewhat niche event, which I think is pretty good. With 600 attendees, about 80% of people had all access passes. That means that they had tickets for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's 600 people for, or let's say 400 to 500 people for 3 nights, who were obviously staying here for 3 nights, needed food for 3 nights and days, and entertainment at the end of the night for those. So I think it has a pretty good ROI. We also obviously rent out the auditorium, so I know a lot of the money that we make goes back into the CAPC for renting the yacht.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Scribner?
I do have a question real quick.
Robert.
Awesome event, no question about that. Since it's connected to the zombie crawl, do we have another application coming in the future for zombie crawl, or is that kind of covering it?
So they're not, I mean, they're connected in the sense that they overlap time-wise. That's mostly because I'm only one person, and it's easier to organize both of those together. It also, the idea is to bring some of the people who would come in for zombie crawl on Saturday, bring them in a couple days early, have them stay the night, eat, drink for several days instead of just on Saturday. But this is a ticketed event in the auditorium, so it's actually a separate event for zombie crawl. So I will submit a separate one with different stats, different different purpose, I guess, for the advertising, or at least different demographic for the advertising.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
I'll make a motion to approve the $5,000 for Nightmare in the Ozarks Film Festival.
I second.
David made the motion, Colin seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Shira?
Aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Approved, thank you. All right, that's all for the funding requests, 4 out of 5. And we'll have Mr. Danvers come back next meeting. Commissioner's application, so we have none, and now we have 3. That's nice. Usually what I like to do with these is that we take them, and the commissioners can call these folks, talk to them, vent them, see what you think of them, unless somebody has a different idea. I am surprised to see Mr. Bradley Tate Green back application.
Yeah, me too.
Submit it. So is that good news or bad news? Is his job still going okay, I wonder? Okay, cool. So is that okay with everybody that we wait, vent, then we'll bring him back next meeting to vote on them? We're not in a big hurry. We're down to one
I personally
person.
like to call him and chat just for a bit. So,
Okay. Is it okay?
We have 2 of them here tonight.
Well, we know Mr. Hinkie for sure.
I wouldn't mind either one of them coming up and listening to.
Yeah, Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, how you guys doing? My name's Ryan Knapp, and I think my work ethic and my track record as a person here in town speaks for itself in a lot of ways. I manage 5 businesses downtown, 4 gift shops, and nightly lodging. And I've been in the tourist industry for 20 plus years, since I was a little kid. And I talk to hundreds of people, if not thousands of people a month. I hear about the good and the bad about Eureka, and I get a personal relationship with customers and locals and people all over town. And I think I have expertise that could help the board here carry on the nature of what Eureka needs to be.
Great. Do you have any questions for Mr. Knapp? Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. Air DNA.
A moment ago, David referenced statistics and something that we really can't seem to get too much of in our analysis of what's going on and who's coming into Eureka. We have been studying different platforms of research data. I talked a moment ago about Placer AI, Granicus, and then through Madden Media, we have Voyage and another augmented portion of that called Keyed Data. These platforms tend to tell us quite a bit about our web activity, our social media activity, and that's good to know. These are things that help guide us, for instance, our SEO and how it's performing. Expedia, I mentioned, also helps us when we take a look at how many nights have been booked into town, the revenue generated, and so forth. We came across a program called AirDNA, which is basically a data set that analyzes 2 different things. One, it analyzes Airbnb activity, and it analyzes VRBO. In the demo that we took a look at, we were really surprised at how much data that we actually were able to see. And I've given you a little bit of A, B, C, D here in these charts and so forth. And there is a wealth of data in this already that we've been able to share just in this demo. we asked AirDNA to go ahead and supply us with a data set based upon just the city limits of Eureka Springs. And we came back with some fairly interesting information that is built into, number one, the average daily rate it's charged, which is now about $180 per. The book listings for a period of time comparatively to the same period of time a year ago. The occupancy rate of a particular given time. For instance, we were 11% lower than April of 24 in our occupancy rate. Available listings, how many are there? In the world of AirDNA, it actually talks about how many bedrooms do you have. You may have a property, but you may have 8 bedrooms. And that will affect basically the average daily rate of things that you see. Within this one chart, again, if you take a look at it, you can see where revenues have gone up and gone down ever so slightly. We are on a kind of a pattern right now where we're still in the first quarter of 2025, so it's hard to get a complete synopsis of where we stand. If you take a look at the second page of this, section A, you'll see a little bit of the price tiers as they go up and down. And if you take a look at the deep blue, that's current, how we fare there. Again, talk a little bit about how much is going on via bedrooms and so forth. And the small graph on the left-hand side at the bottom, shows that basically 1 bedroom is what people are generally going for. We'll go over to chart B. It gives you some information that you kind of know and maybe take for granted a little bit. When do people come to town? It's a Friday and Saturday by and large, but it's all during the course of the week. Again, a little bit about what are the nightly rates by bedroom, and it goes anywhere from a few $100s all the way up to $400 or $500, depending on how many rooms you're renting. In section C of this information, it gets a little bit more granular. It talks more specifically about all of the lodging nights that are available within the community. That's this sort of Excel-looking sheet that you see. And what this really does is it takes, again, account of all the properties that are listed through Airbnb and VRBO and categorizes them times the number of bedrooms that are available, which is a whole lot. And then it does break down, again, the nights booked during the course of time, and then really just some basic occupancy rates and percentages and so forth. So it's a lot of data here that we're able to collect. But probably more specifically is the chart that says D. This chart is amazing, and it's actually 2 pages. This is a very lengthy 85 lines of Excels. But this is a column, 85 columns in an Excel spreadsheet that goes all over the place. What you're seeing here is the property ID. We found out that what they do in AirDNA is they give us the latitude, and the longitude of the property. We can then go back in and tell you exactly who it is. It's something we've never been able to do before. We find it rather fascinating. Now, this particular example is based upon a Canadian set of properties. So if you look at it, you won't see anything that probably looks familiar to you. But this is actually from Canada. They wouldn't share with us everything that they had up their sleeve. But the beauty of this is it tells us a lot of data about who's paying, who isn't paying, current business licenses. It tells us, for instance, if a Airbnb or a VRBO just sort of comes into the market all at once, we don't know about it, all of a sudden we will have that data. Their platform is going to be based upon a way to look at the basic format of what's going on in Eureka every day of the week. So for instance, we can take a look at March the 1st, and we can tell you what was going on that day, how many rooms had been booked, what the average daily rate was, and who was collecting that money through these properties. This is pretty extraordinary. It's deep research. And the reason it becomes so important, I think, for us is it gives us another tool to basically enforce what you all want us to do, and it's collect the money that is due. We don't know all the time what is specifically out there. We're working with planning, we're working with IDA and City Hall to try to track down business licenses. Consequently, when they get a license and they are going to be in the property business or the restaurant business, they have to come to us and get an A&P permit. But what we've learned is that isn't always the case. And we're seeing, a little bit of a problem in that regard. The more properties we get into town, the more likely it is somebody's going to try to figure out a way not to take care of their responsibilities. We have a few things that we can do, but obviously we can't do everything. This particular program, and I think Ty may want to talk a little bit about it, within the ability to go back and just look specifically at Eureka Springs and the city limits, we can extrapolate the motels and the hotels. But what we can't extrapolate right now is the Airbnbs and the VRBOs. We can't pull that data. With this program, we can pull the data. They scrape it and web crawl it. This is being used throughout the country right now in some very, very big markets. And it's just a dynamic program to use. Now, with a dynamic program, it also has a dynamic cost, too. It is not inexpensive to do this program at all. And I'll be happy to share with you that it is $10,800 annually to use this program. However, at the end of the day, will it generate money for us? It is not a money generator. However, it is a way to go ahead and authenticate the money that is out there, help us do a better job with our collections, and then give us data that people want to know. One of the things that we get frequently these days for people wanting to come into this market is, how is your market going? What is going on with the market? What kind of relevant data can you tell us to suggest that this is a growing market for us to invest in? We don't have a lot to tell them right now other than to suggest that our collections are where they are at a given time. But this is a forecast that probably will help us do maybe a much better job of doing those things than we've been able to do before. We have talked to them about how to go ahead and pare the expense down. They have indicated they would be more than happy to go ahead and prorate it through the end of the year if we jump back into 2026 with the full-blown program. I think the thing that excited probably Ty and I, and I'm not going to take Ty's time here, but I will say that being able to go ahead and take a look at an event, for instance, and be able to say that on the 31st of December, this is who was here. This is how much money was generated. This is where they stayed. And then be able to go back and extrapolate that data to just basically how much inventory do we have at any given time. A long time ago, people said, how many rooms do you have? We would say some generic thing like 2,200 rooms. That's not really true. We have way more than that because one property can have 8 bedrooms. And what that means is that you've got more pillows, more beds, and so forth that you can go ahead and provide for the customers. But again, at the same time, we don't know whether or not that is a genuine fact. This basically gives us the most factual information that we have seen to date. Todd, you may want to jump in here on this one.
Well, my thoughts are that it is just short-term rental data. It's Airbnb and Vrbo. So it's not the whole picture because we have a whole lot of hotels that don't use that. So, but it is a picture that we don't currently have. We don't have a lot of information on STRs right now. So it fills a gap and it helps us to, we can't do the daily thing with hotels, but this gives us a way to measure, for an event, who's in town, who's staying, what's the occupancy rate for short-term rentals, which can help us project to the bigger picture. So it gives us some data to work with. And like Mike said, it's not going to be a money generator for us, but it will help us in how we do our job and to track, the properties that are in town. Because we gave them the city limits map and they generated our dashboard just for the city limits. And then we can have 25 comparison markets that we can set up, and so we can see how we compare to other markets that we choose to compare to. So I think it's going to be very valuable data, but it's an expense that we have to decide if we want to do it or not because it's not in the budget right now. So,
Robert?
Well, so going into the VRBO contract next month, so this tool would give us a little bit of information how accurate their payment would be versus what we can see, what kind of bookings they received. Is that
It won't be a one-to-one
not in-
matchup, but it would
right.
it would help.
So you will see, let's say, VRBO reports, I don't know, $100,000, and we can see by these analytics that, no, this should be 150,000.
Potentially.
So I understand we can't match it,
Right.
but at least it gives us a little bit confidence that they don't cheat us, right?
Correct.
And maybe there's other sources. Can we track on like Booking.com or Expedia, or is it just that VRBO and Airbnb?
It's just those two.
Those two. Yeah. Okay.
And they can't provide us the information right now, but they will be in the next few months be able to provide us the data of where they're coming from, so that would help with marketing.
David?
Yeah, I wanted to, first of all, ask, the page is not numbered, but it's this page right here. And it says Eureka Springs, but then when we flip, it's just giving us that example from Canada. Can they give us an example from Eureka Springs, is my first question, and not Canada? And my second is, what do you think is the percentage currently of Airbnb, VRBO, as opposed to our hotels and motels? Because if this is providing just information for those kinds of places, I don't really see the justification in spending $11,000 a year on it.
I think that, well, number one, to answer the question, it's proprietary information, and they would not let everything out of the bag, so to speak. The Excel spreadsheet that we were able to take a look at was actually an add-on versus just the overall data report that you see. Ty asked for that, and they were gracious enough to go and show us the example of what it would look like. What we do know is that Airbnb and VRBO right now probably lead the marketplace in terms of bookings. That's what we think. 1,700 is the number, I believe, of Airbnbs that exist within Carroll County. And if we pull out, I can't remember what the exact number is, but it's a fairly significant number of properties. That into itself leads us to believe that we're missing something somewhere. And can we keep up with it? I don't know. It is a lot of money, to be sure, but on the same token, when we work in conjunction with, for instance, the city and the amount of business licenses that are out there, and if we are able to go ahead and make sure that if you have a business license and you're in the business of lodging and or restaurants, that we know who you are. Right now, if you're doing an Airbnb and you jump in, we just don't know, The other part of the scenario, obviously, is if you're outside the city limits, there's no restrictions on what you do. Within the city limits, there are. Again, it's a way and a tool for us to utilize to say, is our city inspecting these properties? Are they doing what supposedly has to be done with SDRs? So I think there's a lot of different ways to spin this information. Is it worth $11,000? Good question.
And how long have they been doing this?
I can't answer that question.
AirDNA has been around for years.
Robert?
I think it's a good tool that we finally have something that we can measure numbers. But since we're starting with VRBO by June, I would like to see maybe that we put this in the budget request for next year, and then we can actually we have actual data we can look back and compare. But maybe right now it's maybe too quick to jump on something so expensive. But I would like to see it maybe for 2026. That would be maybe a good fit.
Compare to what? Just to clarify.
That we have we would start using that program by 2026, and then we have really data we can look back to. And we can compare it with the payment from VRBO, for example. Because right now whatever they deliver eventually with their first paycheck, we can't measure it, right? We know that.
Well, they're not going to give us the detail like Airbnb.
Right.
Airbnb, so I'm not sure how we compare.
It wouldn't change our collections because they already collect everything in the zip code and give it to us anyway. So the only thing it would do is say this person's paying their business license and have been inspected to do business in Eureka Springs, which is probably like one of the biggest things. We don't want somebody who doesn't have insurance and hasn't been inspected doing business. That'd be the one thing that you'd be able to really tell, that other than on a daily basis, like if this event filled up Airbnbs. That would be, in my opinion, the only thing worth paying for. Whether people are paying their business licenses or not, that's not really worth $5,000 or $11,000 over the course of a whole year, in my opinion. But yeah, being able to see whether this event for sure brought in this many nights, that's the questionable thing.
Will AirDNA modify to, since $11,800 is for the whole year?
$10,800.
I'm sorry, $10,800 for the whole year. Would they say, we'll just do June through December?
Yes, they agreed to do that if we agree to a 19-month contract. So
Okay.
we prorated for this year at $6,300 if we started in June, and then $10,800 for the next year.
I figured everything's negotiable. Okay.
It's nice of them. David?
I guess I'm just concerned that, they're asking us to sign a 19-month contract, and they won't give us specific data for just a small window of what we have. That's a little bit sketch to me.
They might. It's just a matter.
We can ask.
Ask, yeah. We're not afraid to ask anything.
I mean, I just want to see what it can do. I see this sheet, and then I see Canada. That doesn't tell me anything.
Well, but they show on the map, they show the dots where they are. So we can see on our dashboard the city limits of Eureka and the dots of each. There's blue for Airbnb and red for Verbo, and you can see where they all are. And you can click on them and see their listing. And so we could go through, and if we didn't have that spreadsheet, we could go through and click on each one and find them. I mean, we can do that, which is easier with a spreadsheet.
Do we have any money for that? Not in the budget. I know we have $1.7 million on the bank account. We could do anything we want, almost anything.
That's why we came to the commission.
I feel like I'm kind of the outlier here, but I honestly thought you were going to say $10,800 a month.
I did too.
That $10,800 is not, for what this claims it can do, it's not a lot of money, in my opinion. I think it's just, where's the guarantee that they're going to perform? I'm sure it's in the contract. And will they come down at all? Or is that their bottom line, $6,000 whatever $100 for 6 months?
I mean, we can negotiate if, however you want me to negotiate. That's what their offer is right now.
Okay.
It sounds like, Ty, you're recommending us to do this?
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of torn because I think it would be a great tool and it would be very useful for us, but it's not a moneymaker. So,
just real quick, Jack Moyer for Basin and Crescent subscribed to AirDNA about a year ago. If you want some experience, you could make some calls to him. And I'm pretty sure our partners over in Fayetteville, Bentonville, or Rogers, one of them has AirDNA over there already. I'm pretty sure because Jack checked with them before he bought it. So there's some regional things that you may have some answers to.
Great, thank you.
It's less than $1,000 a month.
$900.
Yeah, I'm compelled. I understand that it may not be something that it's like an event where people are coming in and sitting in the restaurants or shopping in the retail shops, but to identify the market, to in turn advertise to that market, that does bring the people into the shops, into the restaurants, into the lodging.
One of the things that points out, it's a really good comment, Heather. We found out that the biggest category of lodging in Eureka Springs is the luxury category. And what I mean when I say that is more people are willing to spend a lot of money to come to Eureka Springs than for a $35 night room. And we saw that in, I think, 2 or 3 different areas, and they call it the luxury lodging category, basically, and that's the category where it gets up in the $400 and $500 a night category. There is an amount of business in town that's being done right now at that level. And that was kind of an eye-opener in a way, which suggests that, our market actually is doing well in some instances. So it's kind of like, I think we talked about this before, what does inflation do to the price of a hamburger? Well, it raises the price of a hamburger. You don't maybe sell as many, but what you do is you collect more money that way. And what we're seeing is more money coming into the marketplace. I think probably what would be good to do is that we would love all of your questions about this so we can go back and talk with them a little bit more engaging about what we'd like to be able to see and what we can do. And I think that would be a good way to go. And Robert, to your point, we don't have a VRBO collection yet that we can say this is what was brought in basically because of VRBO. And we really won't know until probably mid-August would be my guess at this point, because we'll be collecting for June, and that remittance probably won't get handled until middle of July. We won't probably see that check until probably the middle of August at this point. So they're going to be a month and a half, 90 days in arrears, or a month and a half in arrears.
One thing, I don't know if people who work with Booking.com specifically, I didn't see anything from Expedia. I use both on my property. Booking.com sent me an email early May that by May the 12th, or from May 12th on, every hotel or every place has to advertise for the full amount, what actually is owed. They didn't include the sales tax, but all those Airbnbs, we have seen them like, $65. And then you go into the reservation system and then you see, there's $90 cleaning fee, there's a $50 booking fee. Apparently since May 12th, they have to advertise with the full amount with all the fees except the tax included. So when we compare numbers here, we might see a jump in the pricing. I don't know what numbers were used to actually generate these numbers here. So that might be an interesting point. But I mean, I'd like to see a tool that we can actually really track down and to get a little bit of a feeling about what's going on that side of the business. I mean, we know hotel and restaurant, and we have more transparency on that part. But you said 1,700 businesses or 1,700 Airbnbs in Carroll County?
Yes. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, that's unbelievable. When you think that Carroll County has 29,000 residents, and 1,700 are Airbnbs, used as Airbnbs. Unbelievable.
Okay,
it's a
moving
phenomenal
on.
Number.
So you're going to check, ask more questions, and check with people who are already using it, ask them how their experience with this is, and go from there. Anybody else have any other questions? We move on.
Well, I think we just table that for the next meeting. And if you have some kind of insight or I don't know, a demonstration, or if you can give us some more prints or kind of information that we can better make a decision about, that would be great. I think we're kind of like probably overwhelmed with the $10,800 and not knowing what we're actually buying for it.
Okay.
I mean, you have seen it, we haven't.
All right, thank you. And I want to make a comment. A friend of mine who has money and travels a lot thinks a night at the Crescent, a suite at the Crescent is cheap. And she travels a lot. So, I mean, I think it is perspective on the type of market we're in.
Mr. Chairman, I neglected to allow one of the members of our team to come forward and talk about what she's been doing for the past 2 weeks. Okay. And if she would entertain us for a couple of seconds, I think it would be well worth your time.
Actually, I want to back up one more step past that. Since I know Mr. Hinkie and I know everybody else has heard Mr. Hinkie, I didn't invite him up to introduce himself as a candidate for the commission. If you want to do that.
This is so exciting.
I apologize. I didn't mean to. We would just, skim over your opportunity to talk again.
I'll take the opportunity. Thank
there we
you.
go.
Yeah. No, I put the application in because after last month's meeting, it seemed like there was some reservations about, who's going to apply. Are we going to have an open seat? Whatever else. And several of the commissioners had approached me at different times and said, "Hey, would you consider hopping on here and maybe giving some help? Seems like you might have a little experience experience at the table. So that's why I went ahead and submitted my application. I appreciate the considerations. I think a lot of the topics, I've worked with Mike on the commission. Robert was a commissioner with me before. And of course, most of you know from just my experience with the town how I've been interacting. I did get back on the chamber board. The chamber is trying to head a new direction here, as they always are. But we will see if we can point them in the right direction, because the community is really reaching out for some networking and some new alignment in many areas. And I think there's still some opportunities at the CAPC that have been there for a long time that maybe I could interject and try to give a new direction. But thanks for the consideration and the time at the mic. And anybody can call me anytime. And I think I've called a few of you already, but feel free to ask me any questions directly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I feel like I've been gone for a while. But the last 10 days, I've been at Travel Alliance Partnerships, which is a conference that kind of envelops the 3 different styles of travel conferences. So what we do is we have regional partnership conferences. So what those do, I met with partners from Bentonville, Rogers, Branson, and we all got together and talked about how we could market together to bring in group tours, motor coaches, travel partners, and how we could work together to promote our areas in this region. So Melisha from Bentonville, myself, and Ray Hendon from the Passion Play, we were on a regional team, and what we got to do was we got to talk and plan and talk to travel operators, motor coach tour operators about our region and how we could provide opportunities and tour packages for this part of the region. So it was really kind of interesting because I could pitch my DMO along with maybe some areas of Bentonville and use Passion Play to market this region. So if there were things that maybe a tour operator wasn't so keen on in Bentonville, I could say, hey, well, we have this. We want you to come here to Eureka Springs. Even if you want to go to Bentonville for 2 days, why don't you come here to Eureka Springs for the other 2 days? So it actually worked in our favors to partner with the other partners in our region to kind of piggyback off each other. So we ended up getting several tours out of that. I think I have 3 coming in this week that are direct results of that marketing tactic. So that worked out well. The other thing that we focused on were the marketplace meetings. So what I did was I got to have individual market meetings with tour operators to pitch Eureka Springs. So that was a 3-day event. I met with 50 tour operators and pitched the DMO Eureka Springs and met with them and kind of talked up Eureka Springs. I also got to meet with tour operators one-on-one and talked about how to provide better services for their motor coach tours and their tour groups, what they were looking for when they booked with a DMO. They talked about restaurants. When they went to a restaurant, limiting the menu. So they didn't want to take their group to a restaurant where they had a full menu, so they were interested in the restaurants providing a limited menu, special seating for their groups, being able to prepay before their group got there, so things like that. When they went to hotels and motels, baggage help, keys already laid out, rooms already pre-assigned, things like that, little things like that that make a huge difference for tour groups when they come in. So I have a whole sheet of things that I'm going to put together. I'm going to put on my walking shoes. I'm going to go to restaurants, going to meet with the owners and managers of restaurants and motels and kind of help put together some of these things for those that are interested in bringing motor coach groups, tour groups to their facilities. I found it really interesting that little things like that make the difference in a group wanting to stay and not wanting to stay in a certain venue. The other thing, attractions. A lot of groups want to make sure that they can prepay. They don't want to get there and have to sign a check or worry about paying, so they want to make sure that they can prepay. And a lot of places here, they say don't want them to prepay. So that's another thing that kind of turns them off about coming to Eureka Springs. They want to be able to have everything kind of buttoned up and prepaid before they get here. The magazine that I gave you is called Dream Destinations. There's some categories for the North, the East, West. We actually made, I guess, #1 in culture for Dream Destinations. We also like our #2, #4, #5 for different categories in that Dream Destination, and that is a magazine that goes out nationwide, even worldwide, for some of the tour operators that are associated with the Travel Alliance partnerships. We didn't have to pay for that. That is something that they did, that they I guess what they did was they went out and they asked the Travel Alliance partners to give their top of those destinations that are associated with Travel Alliance, and that's what they did. So, and we ended up making some of the top 10 in the South. So I thought you all might want to see that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. But it was a great 10-day experience. I also got to go on a FAM tour, which is a familiarity tour with Myrtle Beach, to see how they do their tourism. So I got to go to North and South Myrtle Beach and learned a bunch of stuff I didn't even know about Myrtle Beach. I didn't have any idea that Myrtle Beach was established on rice plantations, so I learned a lot about rice plantations and art and history of Myrtle Beach. I learned a lot about Bike Week and the difference between White Bike Week and Black Bike Week, so that was very interesting, and the segregation that established North Myrtle Beach and South Myrtle Beach. So that was very eye-opening. It was very tiring, and the schedule was very hectic, but well worth it, I think, for our DMO and tourism here in Eureka Springs.
Great. Thank you.
I have a quick question here.
Yeah.
So that you're talking about the tour buses coming, or the tour buses visiting. What kind of size of tour buses are we talking about? How many people are in a group like that? Is it are those like 50 or 100 or?
So next week, the tour groups that are coming in, they're probably I have 31, 35, and 40. And they'll range anywhere in size from the 30s to the biggest bus I have coming in is 75. So that's the biggest bus is usually about 75. So you figure roughly, one person spends roughly $300 a day. Just that's the low ball on average. So you multiply that times 35 people a day, and that's your low ball on what they spend roughly in Eureka Springs.
Well, I look at it at the with the eyes of a business owner, and so I have a hotel with 19 units. What would I do to, sell my property for something like that? I mean, there's a lot of smaller properties. We can't, or not everybody can handle 75 people.
I do have groups that come in that don't come in on big motor coaches. They come in on smaller vans. So we do have groups that come in that are lower than that come in 19, 20 people. And what they usually do is they have 2 people share a room. So you're looking at your property, if you had 19 rooms and you booked out all 19 rooms, and you had 2 occupancy, you could handle 40 people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a little bit around that, yeah. But so how would you, like I said, if as a business owner, if I want to have my property exposed or used for or advertised for those groups, how would I do that?
We could have a conversation and you could let me know that you were interested, and I would definitely put you on the forefront of that, yes.
Okay, we should do that.
Okay, we will.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next, on D, new business, Folk Festival. I think that's Robert.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a quick update. I stumbled over the Folk Festival website, and we know that the date is set for September. But then on the website, it's still, everything is 2024. Is there a way that we can, at least post a new date? I don't know if we can use some older pictures and to kind of, update the website so people know, okay, there is going to be a folk festival this year, even though the lineup might not have been set up completely. But
as of the day, the lineup is complete. As of today, it has been completed. We've been waiting to go ahead and finalize 2 different acts that were going to come. And Nancy Paddock's been working really very diligently on that, and we've had some really good success. It's taken a lot of work to get it to this point, but we're ready to go. We've got singer-songwriter already wrapped up with sponsorship. We have other sponsors that have been brought on board with Folk Festival, and right now it's a matter of Nancy and Caitlin getting together and finalizing the data and getting it live. We're ready to go. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I always see that, we have annual events, and I personally, I always appreciate if there's some kind of an information, if the next date is already set. Mm-hmm. Even though everybody understands, there's not all the details are ready by, I don't know, January 1st. But for me, a good example would be like the AA conference. When they print their flyer, the new date for next year is already on the flyer. Mm-hmm. So I encourage everybody, who operates a website like something for events which are on an annual base, that if they have a date, that at least the date is posted. Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation with Devin about the Anticar show. You can't find anything. The website is dead. But the date is set. So it's so if you search for autofest.com, I think was the website, there's nothing. There's a dead website. I mean, it's not even existing. It says the website is not there. So stuff like that, I think it's very important that we keep up, and if we have a date, that we post it. And like I said, even if we use old information, it shows that, there was an event, there was stuff going on, and everybody understands. But I can mark the calendar. I know it's coming. So that would be a good thing if we can just go ahead and maybe give that information out.
Okay.
Well said.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Commissioner's comments. We'll start down here with Colin. Welcome back.
Thank you. I hope everyone's having a good spring. Even though we don't normally get one, it's very nice to finally have one in Arkansas. I also want to thank the office staff for all the hard work they do. Thanks for your group work, because it's definitely missing before you came on board. Thanks.
David?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to the staff and for Parks for what they did with the grand reopening of Basin Spring Park. That was a lot of fun. And there's also somebody else I wanted to thank, but I forgot who it was, so forget it. But yeah, going back, I keep remembering earlier in the year what we went through as a commission, and to have 3 people now want to be on the commission says a lot for what we've accomplished since then. That's all.
Heather?
Earl, my husband, and I went to the cemetery tour earlier this month. It was super fun, highly recommend, very interesting and educational. So if you haven't been, definitely go for Saturday of the month. Outrageous was a great time. I love seeing people out there. Same as what David said, attending Basin Park grand reopening. That was awesome. The other day I ran into a group leaving the Crescent. They were from Des Moines, Iowa, in a 75 PAX motor coach. And I'm walking in to get my toes done, and a man stops me, and I don't know why he stopped me. He just said, "Do you live here?" And I said, "Oh, yes, sir. I live about 7 minutes away." And he said, "I just want to tell you that any person that lives in this town is the luckiest person in the world. We don't want to leave." So I just think that, thanks to the Crescent for that hospitality, and to the town, that says a lot, that 75 people boarding a bus didn't want to leave. And another big thanks to the CAPC staff. I just think that, as we look at these numbers, the dedication of, it doesn't matter that other towns, we may be outperforming them, and so it's okay, we're good enough. You still go for best in class. And it's just awesome to be part of that. So thank you all.
Thank you. Shira? Are you there?
All right. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks, Steve, for letting me tap in via the telephone so that I could be present. I appreciate you all, and congratulations, Jana, and to Eureka Springs for getting that honor of being recognized as one of the best places to travel. That's amazing. This is a great group, and I thank you all.
Great. Robert?
Of course, a big thank you to the staff all the time for the good work, and I like to see new stuff coming in that we can analyze and figure out, and try to be better than others, and steer the tourism to our town instead of having them going somewhere else. And of course, we have a lot of news every day, which can be, or which are negative in some way, but we kind of have to make sure that we stay on the positive side and look at the events we have coming up, and that should carry us. One thing I'd like to have at some point in the future would be a discussion about relocating our CAPC office. We could put that on a workshop, maybe not next time, but maybe in 2 months. I think that we need to have a better exposure for the CAPC. And I don't know, I know this was a discussion last year, I think, and Mike was exploring some locations with the fire department depot, the old one. But I think at some point we should find a place where we can actually have an information center, which is not in a community center, which is in a place where people can find it. And I don't know what kind of options we have. The city owns different places. Maybe at some point we have to invest into a property and find a good place to actually support our incoming tourists with good information.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a couple of things. I saw a Facebook post a couple Fridays ago, and this is a local person who was saying, oh, it's Friday afternoon, look at downtown, it's empty, isn't it sad? I feel sorry for all the shopkeepers. And this was the exact same time that the White Street Walk was going on. So I suggest that person needs to go up the hill where all the other people in town were at that time. But also caution people when they just do a drive through town and see a lull in traffic or a lull in people walking around, don't take that for face value. Look at the numbers, be real about the statistics and the outcome and stuff, and we can provide those numbers for you. Don't, be to say, well, I went downtown, there's no one there. Well, I drive through town all the time, and I'll go through one way and it's empty and come back and it's crowded. So please don't do that. Odd floor, I did talk to Dee Bright, the chair of HCC today. She and Paul have a schedule to finish the flooring. We did pay $3,000 in on that training class they had, and they're training volunteers to do the flooring. This is the first extension. They're going to keep going. So I wanted to follow up with that to make sure that wasn't getting dropped. The cemetery tour, as Heather said, is still going on. It's through May, June, and July, every Saturday at 11 o'clock for $20. You get an hour-long walking tour. It's been pretty successful so far. Last week got rained out, and they had an observation day at the cemetery, decoration day, and that got rained out too, which is sad because they did a lot of planning for. But it rained and rained and rained. But the cemetery tour, I think, is worthwhile. It's really interesting. It's not about it's not like Voices. It's more about symbolism and history of our cemetery and being a historic landmark. Hopefully, did it get on the calendar did David Danvers give you the information to get on the calendar?
Tabled for next month?
No, I mean on the calendar for the tours themselves. It should be on the calendar.
Oh, it will be. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And our workshop will be scheduled for June 11th. I don't have a topic yet. If anybody has a topic, please let us know. And if we don't have a topic, we'll just not have the meeting. But if anybody has a topic, we're more than willing to meet and have a workshop. Our next meeting is June 25th, 6 o'clock here at the Odd. And that's all I have. Thanks, everybody, for volunteering to be here. Thanks to the CAP staff, doing a great job. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Colin made the motion. Heather seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.